Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for jumping into the daggone box with your boy. Hey, today we got a special one. This is kind of like the outline of how everything's gonna go throughout podcasting, throughout doing anything where you create a digital product or a digital thing. You always want to make sure that you approach it with some type of structure. This podcasting thing is no different. When I was doing content last year, the number 3 was the most profitable number used throughout my content strategy. So what that meant was we posted on all social platforms 3 times a day. We posted on YouTube 3 times a week. And with that formula of consistently posting, trying different hashtags, trying different, thumbnails and graphics, and eventually it was like, we called it the peel the scab method. Basically, it's like, man, if you ever had a scab on your arm and you rubbed it too many times, eventually that scab is gonna come off. I don't care how gently you do it. And it's kind of the same approach with the content. This whole world of like social media, attention is the new currency. So if you want to have the attention that you need to get the right exposure to actually like sell the products at scale, or get people to actually like engage with your offer at scale, you have to be visible. And the number 3 just keeps popping up. So in this podcast, man, we're gonna try to break it down into 3 segments. It seems like the right thing to do. Obviously, the intro was the intro, and we're gonna basically give you an idea of what this whole thing is about. Me personally, my backstory is the one that's always been counted out. See, I had a conversation with my bro the other day, and he was talking about how in every situation possible in my life, as far back as I can remember, it's not like they said the door was closed, but they wouldn't try to let me in. So every opportunity that I got, I had to hop on the roof and climb through the window to get there. For example, I went to school. In 9th and 10th grade here in Montgomery County. And long story short, I got expelled from school. It was the early 90s, or not the early 90s, it was the late 90s, early 2000s. And I basically got expelled. My mom was looking at me and she was like, yo, I'm about to send you to Randolph-Macon Military School in Virginia. Now at this time, there's 2 things that's going through my mind. One is, if I go there, I'm probably going to end up going to like Fort Union Military Academy. I might go to the League. I might go somewhere crazy. That's the first thing that's in my mind. But then secondly, I was like, all right, hold on. I gotta find a way to see whether or not I could actually go to school. Now at the time, in the early 2000s, my dad lived on Atlanta. And even though he never had me by himself as like a father-son thing, I called him and I was like, yo, listen, Mom's trying to send me out to Virginia to this military school. I got these paper transcripts. I don't know why this mic is acting so. I got these paper transcripts. I want to see whether or not they're going to let me into school. Now at this point, it's a Hail Mary. I'm thinking to myself, because I'm expelled from all schools in Maryland, I'm not supposed to be at any school in the state of Maryland at this point. there's no way that I'm gonna walk into this school and they're gonna give me an opportunity. Crazy part was, man, I remember the first day I went to Duval. It was February 14th, 2000. Matter of fact, I went there like on the 12th or like the 11th. And I gave them the transcripts and they gave me a class schedule. Now when I walked into the school, imagine walking into a school that is actually one floor. You just left a school in Montgomery County that was newly built, had cameras in every half a hallway, was a multi-million-dollar situation, and then you go to a whole different county and you walk into this little school that's one floor for all 4 grades, and you walk into the office and they got Apple computers that still got green letters on them. Like, they don't even got color screens yet. Yo, I'll never forget that shit. Like, all I know is I gave them my transcript, and when they gave me the actual schedule to go to class, it was 2 things that was in my favor. When I got kicked out of school, I missed a whole like semester, maybe like 3 or 4 months, a quarter of the year. I missed from just sitting at home. I was working at a pet hotel, walking dogs throughout the day, because it was right down the street from where my mom used to work. And I'd go to the pet hotel in the morning, walk dogs. I did that for a couple months in the middle of the school year. And then I ended up pulling that move with my father. When I got there, in Montgomery County, you had 7 classes, so you could only get up to 7 credits a year. In PG, they had block scheduling where it was 4 classes in one part of the year and 4 classes on the other part of the year, so you got 8 credits. Without them having that differential in credits, with me being able to get 4 credits at each part of the year, if I didn't have that ability to do that and get those extra credits, I would have had to graduate in 2003. But I was still able to graduate on time because I was able to make up the amount of credits that I needed to graduate with the block scheduling in PG. So I get there. As soon as I get to Duval, man, I just stopped playing sports. Left the street shit alone, stopped playing sports. And we were decent, we were okay, we weren't the best team ever. But I did my thing. I left with the MVP in football and track when it was all said and done. But it was like, at the end of it, getting into school, this is what I was talking about as far as like the door not really being open, but being like kind of cracked. We used to all go to Lago and go work out with my man Brady. And I went down there, and Brady was one of those dudes that had all the best athletes around the area at one point. Going to Lago during the summertime and getting some work in, we called it the stable. If anybody was around in the early 2000s in the pre-G area, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. The stable was a group of men that were different. I remember going to Lago, and at the time, I was either gonna go to Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T, or I was gonna stay home and go to Bowie. Now, we went to Largo, and a couple guys that was up there, Caleb and a couple of the other guys, they were already at Bowie. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, I could cook right here at home. My mama could still come see me. I'm gonna give it a shot. So I get up to Bowie, I register for school. I'm talking to the track coach at the time about scholarship money to do like track stuff, but football was never in question. So I get there, they have a walk-on tryout. There had to been about 50 people that tried out that year. Only me and one other dude made the team. Me and White Boy. It was a crazy situation. I don't think any other walk-ons that came out of that batch actually got their head nod to go to practice that next day. So we make the team. Again, the door was never open. And I'm literally bringing my own helmet to practice on the practice squad against our first team defense with some shoulder pads that didn't even really fit. Like, I'm out there just giving them work and the most flimsiest equipment you could think of. And get into it, we play, we ball, and after that, freshman year, I ended up actually getting on the field. My sophomore year, I was on the field running around, actually like putting up a couple stats. So it's like I said, with no scholarship money, with no real opportunity, I've always been the guy that always found a way. And throughout this whole process, it's going to be the same way. It's like I ran across so many different entrepreneurs in the last year or two doing various things. So in this podcast, what I want to talk about starting off though is actually how to structure and how to kind of like develop yourself in order to position yourself the right way when you deal with these bigger influencers. A lot of times people strive to work with the biggest influencers they can find, but the truth is it's better to like come up with somebody rather than like tap in with people here and there. So yeah, as far as your copyright, as far as the different things that you actually got to have in place, as far as your scheduling, all these different things I want to actually like touch base on within this podcast, especially if you're doing anything in the creative service space. Whether you're a videographer, photographer, graphic designer, whether you're somebody that gets paid off of your creativity, this podcast is going to focus in on how to actually maximize what it is that you do and try to take it to the next level. Boss Heavy is still a work in progress, so some of the things that I'm going to talk about are going to be from real life experience. But a lot of times when I get on here and I actually start doing my thing, I just feel like I'm going to give it to you exactly how I get it. It's going to be raw and uncut. Some people might think I'm over-delivering. Some people might think I'm giving away too much. But I want us to be on the same page throughout this process and figure out the best way to put this content together. Now, the first segment of this podcast, I definitely want to go through some inspirational content that I've discovered throughout my time of shooting and, you know, scrolling the internet. There's obviously like a lot of content that you're gonna come across. So this segment right here, man, we're gonna call this the gems, IG gems. Let's pop off, man. First one, let's go.
Know the pilot. You relax on the boat, but you don't know the captain. You relax on the bus, but you don't know the driver. So why don't you relax in life, knowing that the Almighty God has got you?
Sometimes you just gotta relax, take a step back, breathe, figure things out.
I was doing good in content.
This
before I start holding the money.
This is a real
you get like
gem.
over a 2% chargeback rate. They just paying your whole shop payouts. Right? You can't. They just no longer want to work with you. And after that,
Let me see. Peep the story of the eagle. And I'm gonna say this because in the entrepreneurship journey, this is definitely part of it. It's painful.
Has to make a difficult decision up to 70 years because they are mentally strong. After 40 years, every eagle has to make a difficult decision. Its claws are no longer sharp enough to hunt. Its beak becomes bent and blunt, and its feathers become thick. The eagle has two options. Either it dies, or it goes through a painful change. This painful change is that the eagle must go to the mountain and hit its beak on a rock for 150 days until it falls out. When the old beak falls out, a new beak grows in. With a new beak, the eagle pulls out its claws. When the claws fall out, the new ones grow in. The eagle plucks out its feathers. This painful journey takes 150 days, but after doing this, the eagle gets a new life. Sometimes we need to get rid of our old self in order for a new always wants to be better every day. Eagles can live up to 70 years
Hey,
because
man.
they are mentally strong.
When you're going through this transformational journey, just like I'm going through now, I saw these two clips, man, and it was like, damn, you might have to go to the mountains and peck away at your face, grow a new beak so that you could bite out your claws, to grow new claws so that you could use those claws to pluck out your feathers and last another 30 years in this game. That was so deep to me, man, because throughout this entrepreneurship journey, you get comfortable, you get complacent, you get in a zone, you start working with certain clients and you feel like those are your guys. And when it gets time for you to actually elevate or actually take the next step, it feels weird, especially when you're doing it by yourself. So what I've come to realize is like, man, a lot of times you gotta just close your eyes like I'm doing right now. Take the leap of faith on yourself and really tap in to your gifts. Step up and tap into the different gifts that God gave you. Associate growth with doing, not reading, watching, and listening. Don't overstudy and under-execute. So no matter what it is, if you got a actual skill set and you want to study, you want to watch YouTube, that's soothing. To take in information, watch example videos, that's real soothing. But picking up the microphone, hopping into your basement, recording your episodes, and getting your messages out to the world is a different thing. I've learned that by the time people catch on that this is going on, I'm going to be well equipped. Because my goal now is to just come down here on a daily basis. Might as well record a podcast. I mean, everybody say put out a podcast once a week. And I'm like, if I was interviewing people, yeah, but I guess to accelerate this thing, man, you want to put out at least 3 a week. And I can record one every day for 30 days. That give you 30 episodes. I don't know. By the 60th episode, I should have everything I need. Set a goal. Create a project to achieve it. Self-educate, participate, and build to move the needle. This is not optional. So this thing says, man, you made a decision to find my purpose and step in my power a long time ago. My seeds are growing. And when you make that decision and step into your purpose, a lot of people think that it means that you got to do something grand for your soul. Man, listen. You got to step into your light. Step into your greatness. Step into your genius. Make sure that when you leave here, you have something that you can be proud of, saying that you actually accomplished something that you did. This right here is one of the wildest revelational, I guess. I'm gonna always play this. Matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some of these quotes from these influencers that I follow and actually like use them as an intro for this podcast. Cause this right here, for my son to actually look back at the journey with me, is because it's this.
He's not here with us anymore. There's no documentation. I can't show my kids, hey, this is your grip. Get my thoughts off of my chest. Well, we have podcasting now. So I'm saying forget making money from podcasting. I'm saying it's a responsibility for you to leave something for your kids where we can document it. My kids can say, hey, this is my dad. Yeah. My dad was done. I'm talking about 100 years from now. I have no footage of hearing my dad's voice. And it's over. He's not here with us anymore. There's no documentation. I can't show my kids, hey, this is your grandfather. Brilliant man. My dad is brilliant. Brilliant man. No one will ever know.
We about to do it the Boss Heavyway.
So why isn't it our responsibility to start putting content out into the world so that your kids can say, yo, that man right there, my dad didn't make a whole lot of money. But I promise you I'll be bragging on him today. But he was so wise. He had so much intellect. His perspective on life. He never gave me an answer. I asked Dad a question, and he'd make me think about the answer. I'm like, Dad, which one should I choose? He'll say, which one do you think? And I'll say, Dad, I mean, if I knew the answer, I wouldn't ask you. He said, well, you have the answer, but you haven't tried. You're not even using your brain, son. I remember hearing him say that 1,000 times. If he said it once, he said it 1,000 times. You're not using your brain. You're not using your brain.
You gotta leave something here for them to see and experience. Now, I have footage from over the last 2 years of being behind the lens. And throughout this whole journey, I feel like these episodes are going to be somewhat teaching. I'm going to definitely teach some of the things that I've learned. But the truth is, man, I need to document this journey and have an outlet to actually show and talk about the different rooms that I've been in from a different perspective. This is gonna be a wild journey, but I feel like, man, going through this process is gonna build up my communication. It's gonna build up my strategic planning when it comes down to actually like creating a show outline. It's gonna build up my tenacity to actually put out 3 pieces of content. Now, in the beginning, this is what I'll say. Let's get into it one time. Let's get into it. Let's bring it home one time. In the beginning of creating content, there's 3 things that I suggest you do. The first thing is pick a day to record content. This is very important because if you don't have a flexible schedule, or if you don't plan on waking up like every morning and dedicating an hour or 2 to recording content or doing something within your business, then you need to have a day either once or twice a month that is solely dedicated to you recording content, changing outfits, going to different locations. But it needs to be something that's planned, something that's written out and actually like planned. Now when it comes down to a flow, there's a guy that I was following, I think like a year or 2 ago, real estate guru. He had a whole lot of information about the real estate space, but he had a very, very, very interesting concept, because the guy's name is Tristan Amunda. Very interesting concept on how to actually approach conversating with your client. It's called the Stay Calendar. The Stay Calendar is a way for you to batch content with some type of sequence and call to action behind each piece of content. Now, call to action is basically what you tell your followers what to do at the end of the video. So what I realized that work is you'll write out 10 hooks. Now, hooks are basically the first 2 sentences or 3 sentences within your video that are supposed to basically not only stop the scroll, but tell the folks what it is that they're about to get themselves into. So what I'll do is I'll write out a few hooks, and a couple different call to actions. A call to action could be as simple as follow for more value, or comment this word or that word in order to receive this document, which you could do through ManyChat. But the truth is, you want to be very clear with your intention from month to month. So, prime example is like, all right, we're in this Easter month, April Fools, whole lot of stuff going on, right? You could create sales and offers around what's going on within that month to benefit your business. So if it's a offer that you have for the next 90 days to do a photo shoot at a discounted rate or whatever, you can create that offer and create the content for that offer in one day. But change your outfits and basically talk about the different benefits that you're going to provide throughout the month. Now back to the Stay Calendar. The Stay Calendar stands for one day you sell, you teach, you give advice, you talk about you. On the 5th day, I say go live. On Saturday and Sunday, you gracefully pitch your product. Now, a lot of people look at this content strategy as it being a video strategy. The truth is, you could do this with a mixture of video, still pictures, and carousels. And this is what I recommend. If you do it through a week, let's say you want to run a Stay Calendar method through a week, then you'll post one time a day and you'll follow the method. You sell, teach, give advice, talk about you, go live on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, pitch your product, your service. Sunday, those are mostly automated days because those days you're either going out and running around or you're recording. Right? Okay. Then you can run the same play backwards. Talk about you, give advice, teach, then sell, then go live on Friday, then the following week. So it's like you run a stay method straight through the first week. The following week you run it backwards. That's a great way to start. But don't think that when you're talking about you, you have to hop on camera and actually like just talk about you. You can take a picture, a still picture, or a couple of them, make a reel out of pictures, and tell folks to read the caption and talk about it. Give them a story about you with us, with a slight call to action. Follow for more. Comment this, comment that. Then you go ahead and give them advice the next day. You hop on camera, you might give them some advice. That might be a good way to actually like resonate with your audience a little deeper. You hop on, you give them some advice. Talk about something that happened to you that you want your audience to be able to avoid, or something that could benefit the person that would ideally want to come and actually like take on your services, and show them a different way to go ahead and get to it. The third thing would be to teach. Then when you go into teacher mode, like it doesn't have to be nothing extensive, but you can use carousels. I feel like are the most engaging way to write out your thought process and how you actually do things, and tell a story within each slide to gravitate the audience a little deeper and draw them to your offer at the end. And then when you sell, it is what it is. You can give them a hook in the beginning, just like everything else. An offer, your story. Matter of fact, you're gonna give them a hook, your story, then a call to action. And throughout the process of selling, you don't want to feel too salesy, but that's sales make the world go round. The goal is to get somebody to understand what it is that you're selling, understand your offer, and purchase it. Period. Runway, one of my mentors, man, he had a real solid approach to digital products in general, and it was like, we don't really do free. Everything has a fee, and we're not interested in likes and comments or comments and likes. We want PayPals and Stripes. So when you start looking at social media, not consuming social media, but actually producing, and producing with purpose, where you actually creating content that's drawing people to PayPals and Stripes instead of comments and likes, everything changes. Now, I'm a laid back guy. I'm not a big rah-rah guy, but I speak from a place of I'm figuring everything out. This ain't just me trying to be the master of this or master of that. I'm speaking from a place of like, as you watch this podcast, you're gonna see the growth and the evolution of not only my communication, but the processes and the things that we're gonna put together. So I want to reflect on the fact that, man, no matter what you're doing, you have to be in a graceful and grateful headspace in order to move. Give yourself grace. Be grateful for the positions that you do have. Take on everything head first. And yeah, man. Make sure that you understand that it's only you in your own way. Make sure you hit the links in the description. And until the next time, man, do it the Boss Heavyway. All day, every day. It's your boy Swift. We up out of here.